Right now, I want to go out to the phone lines, bring in Mike Scarborough from TigerBait.com. As locked in as anybody when it comes to LSU sports. Mike, how are you this morning?
Doing good, Caleb. Good to be with you.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks so much for hopping on. I know it's a little bit short notice, but look, Mike, SEC Media Days wrapped up just yesterday. Obviously, LSU went on Monday, but all the talk is always going to be about the quarterbacks. Like, oh, who's going to play for this team? Who's going to be the starter here? And like I was talking about a little bit earlier in the show, it's weird. Like some of the bottom tier, quote unquote, teams in the SEC kind of know who their quarterback's going to be. It's kind of the teams at the top, like Texas, Georgia, Alabama. Like they're all breaking in new QBs, except the LSU Tigers. So like let's just go with Garrett Nussmeier right now. Like in terms of heading into the season for you, where does Garrett Nussmeier rank among SEC quarterbacks?
I don't have a problem ranking him number one.
Mm-hmm.
Certainly he's the top returning quarterback in all of college football with the yardage and what he did last year. And look, you can talk about Lenore Sellers, you can talk about DJ Lagway. Is Marcel Reed going to be the next guy up? Frankly, I'm ready for the Arch Manning hype bubble to pop.
Yeah.
But I think everything that's coming Garrett Nussmeier's way during talking season is correct.
Mike, as far as like I'm with you. Like it has to be Garrett Nussmeier because, like you just mentioned, like there's kind of a question mark around a lot of these other guys. As far as biggest question marks for LSU, we know it's the offensive line, right? Like you lose 4 starters from that group a year ago. So let's go outside of the offensive line. Like take them out of the equation. Outside of O-line, for you, what is your biggest question mark for the Tigers?
Well, yeah, that's just it. It's like I know a lot of Texas A&M is proud of their running back room. LSU's running back room's loaded. The tight end room is loaded. The wide receiver room is an embarrassment of riches. I don't know that you're, like most schools, very enthusiastic about your number 2 quarterback, but offensive line, you're right, is the only real worry on the offensive front. Defensively, I think this is probably the best defensive line, and that's interior and edge rushers since BK's been here. I like the linebacker room. I think there's a reason to be probably more enthusiastic about Harold Perkins at this point than at any time in his career. For some reason, I feel like, if he's 100% healthy, I think they're going to find the right spot for him. So then we go back to the issues that have plagued this team, and that's DB, cornerback, and safety. Did I see enough in the spring to know that they've got cornerbacks sewn up and they're not going to have any issues? I think the edge rushers are going to help those cornerbacks. And I have a hard time believing that the safety position at some point isn't going to be solidified, whether it's with DJ Pickett or whoever that ends up being the starter at some point. There's just too much talent there to not be able to find the right combination is what I'm getting at. There's a whole lot of safety in numbers at the safety position.
Right. No, I'm with you. Like really, it's O-line, and then everywhere else, you kind of feel okay. Like I was talking about it earlier in the show. I thought this coaching staff did a really good job in the portal, like filling all your needs, especially on the defensive side.
And here's my thing when I think about the offensive line. Look, I think the offensive line recruiting at LSU on a consecutive yearly basis has been the best it's been probably this century under BK.
Mm-hmm.
So why isn't that equating to a stout running game? And look, you'll be able to point to the fact that they're all newcomers and 4 starters are lost if they don't get it done. But I also wonder if there's an issue with the way the technical part of that offensive line as to why they have the inability to run the football. I mean, a lot of offensive linemen come out of high school in these offenses, RPO offenses, and it used to be years ago your offensive line would come out of high school and all they knew how to do was run block. Now, is that what it is? It's completely the opposite, and you have a rough time teaching them that.
Yeah, no, I get you. It's like the conversation everybody has about, oh, this quarterback can't take snaps under center. They don't do it anymore, Mike. Like, I'm kind of with you on the running game thing. Look, a minute ago, you mentioned an embarrassment of riches at wide receiver, and I agree. Like, there are a ton of bodies there. You got a bunch of big-time transfers in. You did a good job retaining a lot of your weapons from a year ago. Like, we saw Chris Hilton at SEC Media Days on Monday. So, like, let's assume Hilton's going to get that start against Clemson. And I know it doesn't really matter, who gets the start because they're going to rotate these guys in and out. But, like, in your opinion, like, top three guys going into the Clemson game, who do you think it's going to be?
Well, it's going to be Aaron Anderson, Chris Hilton, and Barry and Brown, right? But how quickly is Nick Anderson out there? You've got Teron Francis that's I think is going to be a fantastic freshman. That's where it's like, we know how special Harlan Berry can be, whether he's going to be lined up in the slot or at running back. And you can go, 5 through 8 in your wide receiver room and see guys that could probably be starting in a lot of schools. How do you get all those guys involved when you've also got a tight end room that other schools are very envious of, with the addition of Bauer Sharp on top of Trey'Dez Green? If you remember early season, mid-season last year, everybody just kind of upset about Chris Hilton. Man, there's so much reason to be hyped for Chris Hilton. The way he finished last season, at the end of the year and in the bowl game, I'm absolutely convinced had Chris Hilton been there all season long last year, they would have had at least one more win. That deep threat was just so lacking, and they addressed it in the portal in a big way. But then the next question is, in my mind, is who's going to be your leading receiver in touchdowns, and who's going to be your leading wide receiver in receiving yards? Is it two different people? Is it one person? And what's going to be the total of receiving yards across the board? And I think the running backs are going to catch a whole lot of balls as well.
Mike, as far as, we've talked about a lot of transfers and a lot of guys that are kind of known commodities, right? We're talking Aaron Anderson, Chris Hilton. This can be offense or defense. Like, just give me a guy you're watching heading into the season, a freshman, you're like, hey, that guy could break out.
I think that's where it's kind of hard. As much as I think Harlan Berry is as legit as can be, how does he break in? And I always like to pick on Frank Wilson's running back rotation. At what point do you think there's any chance that Harlan Berry is an integral part of the offense at Clemson on the road in that environment? Even if he didn't put the ball on the ground one time in fall camp, do you think he's going to get utilized quickly? I have my doubts just based on history and the way I know that BK and Frank like to rotate those guys. It's a good question. I think if it's going to be a freshman, it's got to be someone like DJ Pickett on the defensive side of the ball.
Yeah, no, I'm with you. Like DJ Pickett, that's the name that everybody's going to watch, right? And like that's like we were talking about the safety room. Like they actually did a pretty good job at the cornerback spot as well. Like you have Stamps back who in his third year, and I know he wasn't like a full-time starter as a freshman, played a lot of ball though, was a starter last year. Like he's entering his third year. You got some guys in the portal. You got DJ Pickett. Like that's a room as well to keep an eye on. Mike, before we get you out of here, Mike Scarborough of TigerBait.com joining us right now. I want to ask you two quick recruiting questions before we get out of here. Look, obviously Tristan Keys, number one wide receiver in the country, currently committed to the Tigers, but I mean, he's taken all the visits. He's made no bones about like, I'm going to continue to talk to other schools. In your opinion, do the Tigers keep Tristan Keys on board?
I like their positioning right now, but I think there's going to be some antsy moments and some back and forth and drama all the way till the moment he does it. Look, in this day and age, anytime you get a guy like that that's got the stuff going on Twitter and the NIL deal, you're going to have a whole lot of people who are skeptics of it. But I think you'd much rather be in LSU's position with him right now than other schools. You just don't want to get blindsided in November because you thought you had what you needed, and then someone came and dropped a huge dollar amount, and it's just too much for you. At the same time, I think that's the same. You can reverse and say that's probably what LSU needs to do at the quarterback spot. They've got to be the spoiler and go yank a quarterback and be in position to flip a kid in November at the quarterback spot.
That's actually right where I was going next, Mike. LSU was after Bo Bentley for a while. He chose Oklahoma. You'll offer Bryson Beavers, and the next day after you offered him, he commits to Oregon. So they've kind of swung and missed on a lot of these guys. And, there's that old adage of oh, you have to sign a quarterback every class. Well, with the portal, in your opinion, does that change at all? Because, a lot of people are saying, oh, you have to get a quarterback in 26. Others are saying, well, you'll just dip into the portal, get one out of there, and then you have the good 27 class coming up. Hopefully you can land one of those guys. Where do you stand now of, having to take a quarterback every class?
Well, we've been posing the question for a couple of weeks now. When you look ahead, and because that's what everybody's doing, if BK doesn't make the playoffs, what's it like for him in 26? And think about all what you're going to lose because of how much eligibility you've got and all those NIL guys you just signed. Do you think the starting quarterback for the 26 football season is currently on the LSU roster? I don't.
Yeah, I don't either.
So, and then when you look, you say, okay, who are the guys that we're mostly familiar with that Joe Sloan has relationships with? And I'm pretty sure there's some guys that we probably aren't talking about. But if it's going to be trying to flip guys that committed elsewhere, and you look at where they're at in the resources at those schools, whether it's several quarterbacks committed to Oregon that LSU offered, Jared Curtis at Georgia, Faison Brand at Tennessee, Bentley, Oklahoma, Diabell at Texas. You're not going to flip those guys by doing the reverse Bryce Underwood this year. So to me, it's do you go down a level into, a low 4-star, a high 3 to get your high school quarterback, and then after that, go into the portal and get you a marquee quarterback that's either a grad transfer or has 1 year. And then the question there is, how much do you have to pay to get that guy? And how many other schools are you going to battle for him? Full well knowing what you're recruiting for the class of 27 and what those price tags might be. How many millions of dollars can you have wrapped up in your quarterback room?
Right. No, it's the question that everyone's asking. Mike Scarborough, TigerBait.com. Check out him and the team over there at TigerBait.com. All things LSU, and they are locked in with the best of them. Mike, thanks so much for hopping on this morning.
All right. Talk soon. Thanks, Taylor. Have a good weekend.